Whereabouts are you at the moment, mate?
I'm in London. It's very cold, grey, and miserable.
Well, I did wonder, mate. I've known of the band for ages, but I hadn't actually checked you guys out until recently, and I found myself thinking like this doesn't sound like a band from London.
We especially when we first came out, people thought we was part of the American stoner rock scene with the likes of Caius and Fu Manchu, and I think that was kind of what led us to kind of try and shift away from that, because we wanted to have that kind of that English sort of sense about us, which was kind of when we kind of went a bit more Motorhead and less stoner. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's led us to where we are now.
I'm going to say I'm hearing a lot of, particularly in your most recent album, a lot of like Lemmy worship. Like it's normally got that Black Sabbathy thing, but there's a lot of speed to it as well, which I
But
quite like.
that's always been there. As I said, the two primary sort of influences have always been Black Sabbath and Motorhead. And Chris, our drummer, he comes from very sort of punk and hardcore background. He grew up with Black Flag and Minor Threat and stuff like that. And you know, we've always tried to incorporate little bits of everything, but Motorhead and Black Sabbath have always been prevalent. And yeah, like I say, it was almost like a conscious decision a while back. Sort of, I mean, say a while back, we're talking 25 years when we was caught up in this stoner rock explosion and all these bands were coming out with these ridiculously slow, heavy riffs. So we was like, what can we do to set ourselves apart? And so we sped up, basically. We didn't want to be sort of plodding along and, you know,
Mm.
and if we're honest, part of that is probably down to the fact that as a band, we don't really smoke a great deal of weed. We never really did. We've been more booze and coke and speed. So that was uh, that was the reason for that, I guess.
We call that the Lemmy diet.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Not I partake in that anymore. I've been clean and sober for almost 2 years, so it's a part of my history now.
Yes, yes. I understand you guys have just finished working on an album.
We have indeed. Yeah, we finished recording in December, and I've literally, funnily enough, just emailed the final masters over to the label this morning. There's been a lot of back and forth with like approving mixes and all that sort of thing, but it's all now in a place that we're 100% happy with. And we had a meeting with the label yesterday to discuss a timeline regarding announcing it and releasing it and all that sort of thing. So there's going to be a lot of news coming from the Orange Goblin camp over the next few months. But yeah, new album's ready to go. It's sounding fantastic. We worked with a producer called Mike Exeter, who did the last Black Sabbath album with Rick Rubin, and he's done Tony Iommi, he's done Heaven and Hell, he's done Judas Priest, he's worked with Cradle of Filth. He's got a great CV, and he's done a fantastic job on this record, and we can't wait for people to hear it.
What's the new record called?
I can't tell you the album title yet. That's still under wraps for a little while.
So what's it called?
Good effort.
Worth a shot, worth a shot. All right. Well, what can you maybe tell me about the concept of the new record?
Um, there's not so much a concept, but it's got kind of retro sci-fi vibes, and musically, it's just an extension of Orange Goblin. It's you know, as I say, it's got those Black Sabbath and Motorhead influences, but I think you can tell that over the past few years we've been listening to quite a bit of Rush and King Crimson and Yes and that sort of thing. So there's some keyboards on there and a bit more of a progressive kind of element, but it all kind of works together nicely. And yeah, it's a really clean and crisp sounding album, but it's got that heaviness and it's got the aggression in certain places. There's punk elements, there's blues elements, there's even bits that, you know, there's a song on there that could, to me, it kind of sounds reminiscent of the Beatles at their heaviest, you know, on something like She's So Heavy off Abbey Road. Is it Abbey Road? That's the White Album. I can't remember. But yeah, there's little bits of everything, and I'm excited that you know, it's after 6 years of not being sure where we was going to go with the next album, and having to deal with COVID and a bass player leaving and recruiting a new one. There's been a lot of twists in the road, but kind of sort of see the light at the end of the tunnel now, and yeah, it's exciting.
Nice. Now, since you're very very cruelly not going to tell me the title, what are some lies you can tell me about the album? Let's make some shit up.
Uh, it's a one song, 2 hour epic.
Ooh, excellent. I hear Taylor Swift's actually guesting.
Yeah, we got Taylor Swift guesting on there. Kanye West has done a track. Could go on all day. It's going to be, the album cover is just pink. It's going to be called the Pink Album.
Nice. Did you see Ozzy Osbourne telling off Kanye West?
Yeah. Apparently Kanye wanted to sample War Pigs or something, and Ozzy was like, "No, I'm not having that." I did see a picture of Kanye West recently in the press wearing a Burzum shirt, which I thought was quite odd.
I
I
think
don't think
that's a
it's real.
Photoshop. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's if
I don't
it
know,
was
I'd like to
anyone
think
else.
that I'd like to think that he's a fan of black metal.
Well, or maybe maybe he just misunderstood what the term black metal was, and he's just like, yeah,
Yeah,
sure, why not?
yeah.
Now, mate, Ben, you haven't toured Australia since 2013. Why is that? Were you attacked by maybe a roving mob of kangaroos?
No, it's just never materialised. It's something that we've always wanted to do, but due to time, because I mean, obviously, the band isn't our full-time job. We all have to work day jobs, and we only get a certain amount of time off each year to tour and things. And the last time we was there was part of the Soundwave festival, which was a magnificent experience. And we was flown from city to city and treated like VIPs. Basically, we were getting on flights, and I'd be walking down the aisle to go to my seat, and there's like Tom Araya sitting there, and Gary Holt sitting there, and Scott Ian from Anthrax over there, and it's just like, how did I end up here? It was a fantastic experience, and we got treated really well. We went down really well, and had a really good time with the Australian people, and we were really keen to come back as soon as we could after that. And as I say, just circumstances dictated that it never really materialised. And we did a tour in 2014 in the US with Down, an Australian band called King Parrot, and we got on really well with the King Parrot guys. And they were saying to us, when you come back, you need to be doing your own headline show so you can experience that proper sort of small venue Aussie hospitality. And yeah, it's taken till now. The guys at Soundworks Direct, because it's not a cheap operation for us. We have to go down there. We've got flights to consider, we've got visas to consider, we've got backline accommodation, transport between shows, and all that sort of thing. So we needed to make sure that after 30 years of doing this, we weren't going to go down there and bankrupt the band, sort of thing. So it's now materialized that we think it's going to work out, and yeah, we can't wait for it. It's going to be a great experience. I mean, unfortunately, again, it's going to be like a whistle stop visit where we fly into Adelaide on the day of the first show, then we fly to Canberra, Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, and then it's off to New Zealand. So we're not going to have a great deal of time to sort of take in the sights and the sounds, which is unfortunate, because when we did Soundwave, we had a couple of days off where we got to sort of go across Harbour Bridge and into Luna Park in Sydney, and visit things that we wanted to see. We went in Perth, we got to see the Bon Scott statue and things like that, and it was yeah, I'm hoping this isn't going to be the last time, because it feels to me like this is the first proper Orange Goblin visit to Australia, because it's our own headline shows, and it's going to be Orange Goblin fans coming out to these shows, and yeah, we want to hang out, we want to meet people, we want to sort of find out what it's all about.
Yeah. What were your impressions of seeing King Parrot live?
I think the first time we saw them was the first show of that tour was at a place called the Aztec Theater in San Antonio in Texas, which was, it's like a huge room, like huge sort of 2,000 capacity with a balcony, seated balcony, and standing on the lower floor. And by the time King Parrot went on, there was like half filled floor, not that many people in, and we'd gone side stage to watch. And within about 20 seconds of this blistering noise, Youngie was in the crowd, throwing things at them, spitting at them, rounding people up with the mic stand, just going absolutely batshit crazy. And then you had, like Squiz and Slats like running around the stage, going crazy. And it was just all of a sudden this massive burst of energy and grindcore and punk and thrash and everything thrown into the mix. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. And Phil Anselmo was standing behind me with his King Parrot shirt, just going, I told you. And it was, yeah, they were blistering. They woke the crowd up every single night on that tour. And then when I was a booking agent at UTA for a while, I was booking the band then, and I got them on tours with Obituary and the likes over here. And we remained really good friends with them. So I'm looking forward to hanging out with those guys when we get down there.
They are far and away my favourite Australian band to see.
Yeah, I think my first sort of connection with them was obviously the videos, and they were just hilarious. I think, there's no other band in the world makes videos as funny as they do.
Yeah, I literally saw them 5 times within a year. It was just every time they're in town.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, great guys as well.
Man, just to finish up, you're playing with the mighty ASTRODEAth. Who have you? What do you know about those guys?
Well, I know they're a 2-piece that sound like a 6-piece. And they're a band that I got turned on to, funnily enough, by Youngie from King Parrot. He sent me the material, and he was saying, would you be able to help me out and do something for him in Europe? And I've just been too busy to actually take on anything else because my workload is ridiculous. But when the opportunity came up for supports in Australia, they were one of the bands that we wanted to get on. So, really pleased to have ASTRODEAth on all these shows. And I'm really intrigued about Dr. Colossus as well, because apparently this is like a Stoner Rock Simpsons tribute or something.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
They're awesome. Ben, thank you for your time today, mate.
Pleasure. Absolutely.
I'll be with you. And man, I'll hopefully be seeing you in Brisbane. So
come and say hi. All right. Nice one, man. Take care. Cheers.